let's take a look at some new technologies and how that's affecting digital marketing. We can see from this illustration that technology adoption rates over time are accelerating. For instance, it took 31 years for radio to reach 50% user adoption, followed by TV with 28 years, et cetera, and down the line, to Facebook or social media with just 3.5 years to reach 50% adoption. That rate of adoption continues to accelerate. The iPad, for instance, was one of the quickest adoption rates that we've seen. So what does that mean for us in marketing? And what explains this? If we look at Moore's Law, and I promise you that I'm not going to get into the engineering piece of this, but basically what Moore's Law tells us is that our computing power basically doubles in every 1.5 years or so. What that allows us to do is, instead of big computers, we now have computers in our phones. And marketers are able to take advantage of this, and we'll take a look at how that plays out in the following slides. Another trend that we're seeing is the explosion of mobile apps. In an article in the Wall Street Journal, Simon Khalaf, the CEO of the mobile analytics company Flurry, was comparing the apps industry now to the car industry at the turn of the last century. He said, "You see the growth of roads and know that they're going to be big, but it is still early days." Well, what does that mean? Christian Propelletier, an account specialist at Flurry, in an article in USA Today said, Simon was making a comparison between mobile applications and cars. The main similarity, of course, is the rate of adoption of both apps and cars at their respective points in history, and the consequent opportunity for entrepreneurs to capitalize on this adoption. The roads that he mentions are smartphones and tablets on which the cars, or apps, can run. Simon would also point out the adoption of mobile devices and the use of apps has taken place much more quickly than with any other form of consumer technology, including cars, electricity, PCs, and even the internet. As device adoption increases, obviously so does app adoption. When considering whether to use an app for marketing purposes, it is important to consider the business model for apps. They're easy to build, but the cost of maintaining them can be high. So that's an important consideration when you're looking at this space. Not only is there an explosion of apps, but there's new devices all the time to use them on. We use different devices for different things. For instance, throughout my day, I look at my mobile phone in the morning for things like weather, an update on social media maybe I'm texting, and then I go to work and I'm on a computer most of the time, and I'm using that for work. So I'm on email, maybe on the internet, doing research, and doing various things throughout the day. In the evening, a lot of times, you'll have people on tablets as they're watching TV, and they may also be on their mobile phones during this time as well. So we are surrounded by screens, but we use them for different purposes. And marketers need to understand that so that we're serving information across those devices in a way that's impactful for the user. Another trend that we see is this expanding data pool. As you can see from this graphic, there are some astounding points of data. For instance, Google receives over 4 million search queries every minute. So email users send 204 million messages a minute. There's a ton of data, and it's important for us to be able to harness that and use it for our marketing goals and objectives. Let's take a look at the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is a network of physical objects, or things, embedded with electronics, software, sensors, and connectivity to enable it to achieve greater value and service by exchanging data with the manufacturer, operator, and other connected devices. Where is the opportunity in the Internet of Things? Where will it most play out for marketers? If we look at sort of how it plays out in terms of globally, right, there's a lot of revenue opportunity for mobile network operators because of the Internet of Things. There are a ton of connected devices, and there is revenue opportunity for connected devices in different vertical sectors, such as utilities, consumer electronics. Health is a very big consideration here, and automotive. Our cars are now also computers and are talking to other devices and generating data as we move, throughout geography, really. So how does the Internet of Things affect marketing? Well, It allows us to be more location-based. If we think about that car example that I just gave, if we have that data, we can serve information based on, GPS, etc., where people actually are. The same is true with wearables. That's another big part of the Internet of Things and gives us a lot of data for consumers. Wearables are also key in things like gamification, right? Everything becomes a competition or a game when we have this data and we can share it with our friends and share it across our networks. So things like the Fitbit or a Nike Fuel Band allows you to track your movement and physical activity over time, to share that with friends, to reach goals, to compete amongst your social network, and that gamification gets people interacting more, and then we can serve marketing messages and use that data to better understand our consumers. Media delivery. What if your refrigerator could tell you to buy more Philadelphia cream cheese or Kraft singles, right? So as devices get smarter, we as marketers can use those devices to communicate with consumers in a very timely, very relevant fashion.